Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode number 49. We're one away from another milestone, a half century. How are you doing, Billy? Half terms here. Are you
Yes!
revived?
No, yeah, it's half term. I think it's been a long awaited half term, I think, for most. I know last week we were speaking about teachers and stuff like that, and we obviously don't want to digress onto that, but I think most people I was speaking to, probably yourself included, this 8 weeks that we've been back has been a long 8 weeks. It's always the longest term, so I think this half term and then subsequently Christmas. It'll be interesting for you, I think, because it is going to be slightly different for you this year, because secondary schools traditionally don't have the 2 weeks off before Christmas, or they're doing the Christmas play and things like that. You're not going to have that chill time, and obviously you don't stick on a movie the last week of term and stuff. So it'll be interesting to see how you cope this year with that changing them. But yeah, I'm enjoying half term. I've not done much. I've had to do some marking. I've had assignments in, so I marked them yesterday. Been for a walk. It's chucking it down here in Wales. I don't know how it is with you in sunny Wolverhampton or Sudden Dudley. But yeah, it's been good. How about you? Enjoying?
Yeah, it's been fine. It's been fine. We went for a walk as well on Tuesday in the pouring rain, and we lost the path. I don't know if you saw my post on Instagram. We created a new sport called heather skimming. So we came down this very, very sheer face, and I only had trainers on and therefore slipped my way down. And those of you who know me know I'm not the most graceful of movers. So it was nearly the end of me, but I survived.
Were you doing your impression of me falling off a surfboard?
Yeah, it wasn't quite as dramatic as that, but it was bad. I wanted to ask you, Billy, because you are now locked down again, and Wales has made the news as well for not selling certain
items.
What's deemed to not be essential. Such items like sanitary towels are deemed to not be essential. So how are you coping with your sanitary products, Billy?
I've been all right. I've managed to get by, but no, yeah, it's been a bit of a weird one. I don't think it was the whole of Wales. I think it was just this one supermarket which had misinterpreted the rules. Because I've been up to the Tesco in Cardigan, and I was chatting to one of my former pupils because he works there.
Sorry. Could you hear that then?
Yeah. Tom's clicking buttons he shouldn't be pushing.
Well, more of that later.
Yeah. So I was speaking to one of my former pupils, and he was telling me that, I was asking him because obviously it had broken. He was saying, "Oh, well, they can't sell books, for example, but they can sell magazines and newspapers, even though one would argue that they're the same sort of thing. They're not really essential, that sort of thing." And how they've cornered off. There's only one aisle in our Tesco which has got like the electronics, if you will, down that aisle. But he
I
said
thought you were going to say there's only one aisle in our Tesco. Full stop.
Full stop. But no, you can buy cards. You can still buy birthday cards and stuff. Whereas I'd seen somewhere that you couldn't buy them somewhere else and stuff. So I think it's a lot of a grey area where people, obviously I think the sanitary towels or the sanitary products, that's a bit of an odd one, because I think even in that aisle there was like toothpaste and stuff as well, and you're like, well, it's a strange thing. I've seen other stories where like there was a mother whose daughter unfortunately had to be rushed to hospital, and the clothes that she was wearing had been covered in sick or something like that, and she went to try and get some different clothes from a supermarket because that was the only place that was open, but wasn't able to, so had to do a 40-mile round journey to go and collect clothes just so that their daughter wasn't in these clothes, which for me in particular, where I am as well, that's the sort of journey that I'd have to take to get to the hospital anyway. So it just seemed, there should be a bit of leeway and stuff, but I think it has been rectified, and hopefully now it has been sorted. But yeah, it is a bit of a strange one as well, because we're all being told we're 2 weeks behind other countries in terms of France, Spain, I think, and Germany. Now they're going back into national lockdowns, but Wales are in a current firebreaker, I think it's called. And there's loads of the song Firestarter. There's loads of the minister the Welsh minister, has been like chopped in with the fire starter music, which is quite funny. But we're obviously, if we're 2 weeks behind, Wales obviously after these 2 weeks will then technically, will there be a national lockdown, and we're back into a full lockdown anyway. Yeah. So I think a lot of people in Wales are currently worried about if that's going to happen, because we're going to be in a lockdown for obviously longer than, for example, yourself.
Yeah. I don't want this to become the COVID podcast, but I will ask you one more question. Yeah. Throughout the whole of this pandemic, it seems to me that Wales and what's his name, Drakeford, the First Minister, is really trying to portray Wales as an independent country, although it isn't. At the moment, Wales has got this. They've got the lowest death rates and case rates of all the 4 home nations. How do you feel about all of it? Are you frustrated that you have been forced these restrictions just because it seems Wales want to prove that they are an independent country, or are you just going along with it?
It's a difficult one, because I was saying to someone the other day, when we had the national lockdown, Wales was like, I think there was 2 cases in Ceredigion where I live. There's now 100, say, for example, and hence why we've got, so there's more justification now for us to go into a lockdown than there was originally. The cases, I think, back in March, we were the lowest in probably, I think, the whole of Europe, but yet we were in a national lockdown because of what was going on in England and Scotland and stuff. I think it is, like you say, because Scotland are trying to get independence. I think Wales are now trying to go, well, look, we can do it as well. But it is a case of at least we're doing something in comparison to probably the rest of the country, which needs it. Do you know what I mean? So I think it's more a case of we're trying to stop it's spreading further into where we are. If I'm right, in case of we're going to have a national lockdown in another 2 weeks, it might be this 2 weeks might be what saves us in terms of the infection rate traveling less, if that makes sense. I don't know. On COVID related news, Tom, I've had a haircut.
I was going to say, I have noticed.
I was panicking because so we did the podcast last Thursday, and I think I'd had it just after. I had it after that episode we recorded, because I was supposed to have it on the Friday at 6:30, and we were in lockdown for 6 o'clock. So I was panicking, going, if we don't, I might not have my haircut now for another 6 months if we go back into lockdown. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to shave my head, and my passport needs renewing. So I was stuck with it. I was going, I'm either gonna have a skinhead or a mop on my head. So I was like, what am I gonna do? So we managed to sort it. I managed to get another appointment because obviously it got announced on the Monday that the lockdown was gonna take place. So we had plenty of time for me to get a cancellation appointment. So I managed to squeeze in, but I was there going, I don't know what I'm going to do. So
well, I had my passport in January because it was up for renewal then. And you can take a photo yourself, can't you, now, which is mad, but you don't have to go to a booth in Tesco to have it done. But my hair was long at the time, so I don't look anything like I did when I actually did have it done 10 months ago or so. But yes, how exciting for you, Billy. I did think that was why you'd had your haircut, because you were scared you'd never have it.
Not that I could go anywhere. Not that we could go anywhere, but it's getting to that point where, and I think as well, again, not that we want to change it into a COVID thing, but with us going to, I think with Brexit coming up as well, I think there's like a restriction on how you can't go to certain countries if you've got a brand new passport. You've had to have it for 3 months. So not that we're going to be able to travel before then, but there's certain ones where if you have a brand new passport, you've got to have had it for a certain amount of time. I think it's obviously to show that it's not a fake or something like that. I don't know, but I was like, right, I better get it now, because when we are able to travel, it's a case of it's harder to get and stuff. But yeah. Go on then, Tom. You've got some new. Judging by your being interrupted earlier, you've got something new for us.
Yeah. So, well, I was very bored on Monday. Alice was at work, and I just had a lot of time to myself. So I did a few different things. But I think we'll start with this, Billy. And I hope that this works. So we're going to have a quiz, a weekly quiz, and you can send in your answers via Twitter at Scenes Podcast, which of course everybody who listens must follow by now, because we keep on going on about it. Or if you do listen to the podcast on Anchor, there is the an option where you can send in a voice message. So if you know the answers to these questions, you can send a voice note with your answers in, and the winners will be featured in the next episode. So what I'm going to I'll ask the questions after I play the clip, and then you need to send in your answers. Okay, so here we go. Hopefully it works.
At last, the waiting is over. We have a new Wimbledon champion. A man who 4 times now has attempted to scale the ultimate heights. And at last, he does it.
Pellegrino denied by Khan, his 3rd penalty save of the shootout, and Bayern are European champions once again.
Polo, well challenged by Heskey. Berger. Owen stretching his legs and getting away from Dixon and getting his shot away. That's it. That is just absolutely fantastic. He has won the cup for Liverpool all by himself. Michael Owen has scored with 2.
So they are the clips. Here are the questions now. Number 1, who was the tennis player that won Wimbledon? Number 2, who is it that David Beckham was scoring a free kick against? Number 3, who did Bayern Munich beat to win the Champions League? And what was the score in the FA Cup final is the final question. And then there's something that links all of them, which is the year. So what year did all of those events take place? Billy, how do you think you'd get on with that quiz?
I think I'm okay. There's a couple. I think I'm trying to think who going through them and stuff. I think the Beckham one is Greece.
Billy.
Oh.
Don't tell me the answers.
Oh yeah, I thought you wanted me to tell you the answers. Well,
No!
there's one.
That's well, we were talking just before we started recording, saying I think 4 questions is slightly too many. So there you go. You've got 3 that you need to answer now because Billy's told you the answer to one of them.
That's what I was trying to work out. That's what I thought you wanted me to do. I was like, right, I'm gonna have to answer these now. I'm having to think.
No. You just go, oh yes, I'd have done well. So I just thought,
I did an awful. That's the only one I know.
Okay. If you're watching on YouTube as well, then you can put in the comments. We asked for comments last week, Billy. Did you see? We had 1 comment on the podcast on YouTube last week, which was, let me read it to you. It was from a gentleman called Kenneth Jackson, and it said, "Beautiful girls here. .online." So, what do you make of that?
I think our beards are slightly confusing them. If that's the case, we may need to grow them out a bit longer. Is that why? I think you'd shaved last week. That's probably why you've grown stubble this week. Is it to avoid the confusion?
Throw people off.
Throw people off.
I don't understand. But, well, there were a couple of people. So I put it as a live premiere, which meant that people could watch along. And I'll do the same with this. And there was a few people who were confused and thought that we were actually live and were saying, well, you're never going to get people commenting if you don't reply to the comments that are actually coming through live. But this is pre-recorded, but it appears on YouTube as if it's live.
I mean, and last week did we, or was it the week before where we did the Instagram live?
That was the week before, yeah.
The week before, yeah. So obviously we tried going live, guys, and we had 1 person watching. That was me, because that was the only way. And so if you want us to go live, put it in the comments, and then we'll try it again, maybe. But yeah.
Yeah, so put the answers in the comments or on Twitter or on Anchor voice message if that's if you listen on Anchor. So, what would you like next, Billy? I've got more jingles. Which one would you like to hear?
Should we do the poll? I think we should just get that out of the way now.
Okay. Right. Well, I've got 2 different poll jingles. Okay. I'll play the unofficial one first, and then we'll go for the official one. So I had the backing track, and then I just tried to vibe over the top of it. So this is the first one. Whether it's biscuits, cakes, sport, or animals, Billy Roach is here to investigate and do polls to find out who thinks what the best thing is. And you'll find out when he asks his class, because nobody voted on Twitter, who likes the most cakes or biscuits or the poll. So that was
very. I think that sums up the poll basically in a nutshell. It might be a bit long, but it sums up the poll.
Yeah. So this is the proper one now, but slightly more prepared for this one. Have you ever wanted to know if you agree with 5 or 6 other people on a mundane topic? If you have, then Billy Roach is here to help. Billy asks the hardest hitting questions every week so that you don't have to. We are asking the questions that nobody else can be bothered to ask. To get involved, follow us on Twitter and look out for the poll several hours before the kickoff of the podcast. And it's time for Billy Roach's poll. That bit at the end is my favourite thing ever. And it's time for Billy Roach's poll. I can listen to it again and again and again. So, Billy, what mundane topic have we got this week?
Well, we had discussed last week what we were already going to do animals. You'd suggested us doing favourite animals after we was talking about my tattoo and being covered in 6 different animals. However, in an attempt to get more than one person to vote on the poll, I jumped on the bandwagon of something that was trending on Twitter after you sent me the picture of it, which was Papa John's announcing that they're going to sponsor the EFL trophy, which is it's not the FA Cup. It's the League Cup.
Paint.
It's what was known as the Johnston's Paint Trophy.
The LDV Vans.
Yeah. So is it League 1 and League 2, and then various teams under 21 squads as well. It's that trophy. So it is a major trophy. It is a trophy. It's obviously it's been around quite a while. When I was looking up for the question for the poll. It is an old trophy. It's not something that's just come about recently.
Well,
so
Wolves and Burnley competed in one of the highest attended finals of this competition back in 1988. Wolves won that. The attendance record was broken in 2019 with Sunderland against Portsmouth, which had like 90,000 people, because obviously they're two very big, close to
and it was in Wembley, wasn't it?
At the new Wembley,
yeah.
Yeah.
So I went off the back of that, and I was thinking of, because I thought it was quite funny that a pizza, a pizza brand was sponsoring a trophy. And I obviously don't like pizza, so this is my opinion. Which I obviously think it's not the most healthy food. It's similar to when McDonald's sponsored the Community Shield. Obviously, they do a lot of charity work anyway, so and that is obviously a different thing. But it was a fast food. Same with when we get onto the poll. Various, it's the Carabao Cup, which is an energy drink, which I'm not a massive fan of. We've had alcoholic drinks sponsor it, and various other things. It
used to be called the Milk Cup back in the early 90s. Those are the days.
So the poll that I was going to do, Tom, it was the most iconic cup sponsors in English football. And I was going to put the Milk Cup, but then I thought I've got to justify. I think a lot of our followers and people nowadays might not know it being the Milk Cup, so I thought it's probably not going to get a lot of votes. Is that so? What I went for was the 4 longest sponsors. That was how I deemed the 4 answers that I picked, because I know previously I've picked things and you've slated me.
Well, I am going to slate you again.
This is why I thought I'd justify it before you have the chance.
Okay, I agree with your justification. That's fine. However, I would have gone for just League Cup sponsors or just FA Cup sponsors, and then we could have had an ultimate one from all of those. Because, like, I know that I didn't realise that Emirates were the longest serving sponsors of the FA Cup, but then I remember Littlewoods doing it for a while. AXA, when we first would have been getting into football, they were the biggest sponsors. So just an opinion, Billy, but.
Well, Tom, to be fair, I didn't think we'd get many votes. So I just went down the pit. I'm just going to get, rather than us having one that prolonged, and I know we talk a lot about sport as it is, I thought, well, we'll do one for this week. And the only reason I didn't was because I was going to do the League Cup, but then I thought, well, this is the EFL trophy, so I'd have had to start with the EFL trophy, and I thought, well, I might as well get in.
Yeah, okay.
And I think the ones that I picked, other than, as you've said, like the Emirates Cup, FA Cup is obviously the most recent of them. Then I had the Johnston's Paint Trophy, as we've already mentioned. That's the longest for the league, not the League Cup, the Football League Cup, which is what is now Papa John's Trophy, which is that's what it is. It's hashtag Papa John's Trophy, which is brilliant. I think that's the best name. I think after the milk, that and the Milk Cup. Yeah. And then the two which were battling it out. The Johnston's Paint Trophy got 4%, and the Emirates Cup got 9% of the votes. So we got more than one vote, Tom. This was the groundbreaking thing. Unbelievable.
Absolute scenes.
Yeah. And then the two that I've been battling it out since I think the start of. I think it's quite controversial. Not controversial, but it's an opinionated one because I think most people will remember either of these. Was the League Cup being either the Coca-Cola Cup or the Carling Cup. I think for us as well in particular, obviously we were football fans throughout both those periods of times. Obviously more so the Carling Cup rather than the Coca-Cola Cup, because I think it was when we were born, might have been the Coca-Cola Cup. I don't know if it was 1994, potentially. We might have been a couple of years old.
I can remember it being called the Coca-Cola Cup, but I don't remember going to those games. I remember going to Carling Cup games or Worthington Cup games. Was that before or after? Yeah. Was that after?
I think that was Carling? After. Yeah, no, after. I think it was after Coca-Cola. I will. What I'll do is whilst we're looking. But Tom, why? What do you think? Won. What did you vote for? Did you vote, Tom, on the poll?
I didn't read the question properly. I voted for the Emirates FA Cup because I thought the question was which is the worst of these sponsors. So
okay.
I didn't read it at all. I just voted for the
Well, that
Emirates
could be
FA
next
Cup.
week's poll. We've got Tom's name for next week.
While you're still looking for that, I don't call the League Cup I don't call it the Carabao Cup. I call it the League Cup. I've always called it, and the FA Cup. I don't call it the. I think people are more inclined to call the League Cup by its sponsor because it changes so frequently. I don't think people call it the AXA FA Cup or the Littlewoods FA Cup. They just call it the FA Cup. Whereas the League Cup, because it changes so frequently, people do tend to call it.
Well, I just looked it up now, and I was right. It was the Coca-Cola Cup from 1992 to 1998, and then it was the Worthington Cup until 2003, which was then the Carling Cup. But the League Cup has always had a sponsor. It's whereas the FA Cup originally didn't have a sponsor, and then it has had Littlewoods, AXA. Then it didn't have a sponsor. Then it was the Eon, and then Budweiser, and then the Emirates. However, Tom, let's see if you know. I've just had a look. There was 1 year where the League Cup, and it is recently, hence why I'm asking you, because you should know this, where it didn't have a sponsor. There was 1 year where the League Cup didn't have a sponsor.
Yeah, so it was called was it called the EFL Cup that year?
I don't know, but I've just got down that it just says no sponsor. So
I reckon that was in about 2016-17.
Bang on, Tom. You are bang
on.
It's exactly right. That's when it was the only year where it hasn't had a sponsor. The rest, it has had a sponsor throughout the whole time of its existence. And the EFL trophy as well has similarly only had 1 year. I'm not going to ask you when that was. it was quite recent. It was 2005, I think, looking at this, going across this table. You'd have guessed that, wouldn't you? Yeah. That was when you were relegated back down to the depths of League One and League Two. No. But I thought it was quite an
Billy,
interesting
keeping
topic.
us in suspenders.
Who do you think won, Tom?
I think
Coca-Cola and Carling.
The Carling, I would say. Carling Cup.
Well, Tom, it went actually to a dead heat. They were both locked on 43%, which I was like, I can't believe this has happened. We've had 23 people vote.
Oh my goodness.
And all of them have voted. So what I did, Tom, as I'm not able to ask the class like I normally do, I asked my dad. I asked my dad. I went to my dad and went, Dad, you've got a choice, Carling Cup or Coca-Cola Cup, and he went for Coca-Cola Cup. Probably because that's probably what he remembers, because obviously he's a lot older than us, hence why he's my father. That's what makes him so yeah, I asked him and he said Coca-Cola. So that's the official winner, because he doesn't have Twitter. Another thing which comes with his age, he doesn't have any social media. So yeah, the Coca-Cola Cup is our official winner, Tom.
Very good. Let's finish with the sting for the jingle again, just to wrap it up. And it's time for Billy Roach's poll. Well, thank you for letting us look at your poll, Billy. Let's move on to the next section. This also has a jingle. My mom said that she preferred this one to the poll one, so she didn't like listening to your poll, but she does like this one. So, ready?
Denmark government are allowing sex with domestic animals during Malcolm lockdown. Pike left an address at where he was. The Brazilian Chico Rodriguez has stuffed 10,000 pounds. The government are banning babies to own businesses. A Dutch football team is not allowed to be sponsored by sex toys. A 3-year-old blood is swept off by a kite. Bears.
It's time for Believe It or Not.
You are fake news.
You are fake news, Billy. You are fake news.
Yeah, I prefer that one as well. I think a lot more effort went into that one.
it was about the same effort that went into both of them. But.
Yeah. Well, I think you'd probably have. Didn't remember the stories off the top of your head, or did you have to go back and listen to various ones?
So because I've got this notebook here, and I will write down the ones that you say quickly.
Yeah.
So that's why. Like Malcolm Pike. I wrote that down the other week. So, I thought it was funny.
Well, I'll go through the headlines, Tom. And I've done a little theme this week. I'll see if you can to guess the theme. Are you ready? Have you got your pen and paper ready, Tom?
I have. Yeah.
So. Amazon forced to remove hugely distasteful coronavirus Halloween masks.
Okay.
Head teacher suspended after pupil dresses as Hitler for Halloween. And Trump to use Halloween in a final push in swing states.
Oh, sorry. I just tapped the... read that last one again. I just tapped the headphone again.
So Trump to use Halloween in a final push in swing states.
Okay. So
Tom, can you guess the theme?
Is the theme Halloween?
Yes, because it's Halloween this weekend, and obviously we can't do much to do with that. So I thought, well, we'll have fun with Billy's Believe It or Not, and have them Halloween related.
So
this was quite difficult, because trying to find news stories related to Halloween that weren't related to COVID was quite difficult.
Yeah. Right, I'm going to start with Donald Trump, because obviously by this time next week we will know whether or not he's going to be the premier, the leader, the supreme leader of the United States of A for another 4 years. Mm-hmm. So how exactly is he using Halloween then to win these people over in swing states?
Okay, so just so people have an idea what swing states are as well. So swing states, basically the way the electoral system works is they'll vote and then it'll be cast, and each state is worth a certain amount of points, and there's certain states now at the minute which are swing states because they are undecided on who they are going to vote for, and historically they don't vote for the same party candidate each year.
They swing from one to the other.
Exactly, Tom. Exactly. So they're currently going around. I think there's 6 states. They went to Arizona yesterday, and there's another 5.
Pennsylvania is definitely one.
Pennsylvania, Florida, North Carolina, Michigan, and Wisconsin. So I think they're in North Carolina today, and they were in Arizona yesterday. And I think, judging by this news story, it didn't go too well. He's obviously coming up with a backup plan, which apparently he's going to come out wearing a mask and a cape to highlight that he is a true American hero. To try and help convince the American people that he is obviously the guy to lead them for the next 4 years. So he's supposed to be going around. And I think he's in North Carolina today, and then over the weekend he's going to be, and I think leading into next week. I think it ends on Sunday, and then they've got as in them going round, and then I think Sunday's the first, and then Monday's is when they'll be announced. So I don't know whether on Sunday they're going to do something else or whatnot, but yeah.
Okay,
that's it, Tom.
Have you, just on a side note to do with Trump, have you seen the music that he now uses at his rallies?
No.
So I just happened to watch one of them. I think it was being streamed live on one of the news places on YouTube, and he was leaving the stage to YMCA by the Village People. And from what I understand, this is what he does at every rally. So I don't understand.
Well, maybe that's where the reports come from. He's going to come dressed as the Village People for each one of his next rallies and stuff. I don't know.
He's going to be a Red Indian, and then a fireman, and then a policeman. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So it sounds like he's grasping at straws, Trump.
Yeah.
That could well be true. Right. So the other two then. So he had a head teacher sacked because a child in the school came dressed as Hitler for Halloween. So where did this happen?
So they were suspended. They weren't sacked.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
So they were suspended, not sacked. So it apparently happened in the north of England.
Nice and vague, Billy. I like it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's where it happened. That was the question. That's how I'm going to answer.
All right. And then could you give me any details? What's the name of the school or the head teacher or the pupil involved? Can you give me any of those?
The name of the pupil. I can tell you the name of the pupil. Hang on. Let me just scroll down. The head teacher. So it was in Davis District School.
Right.
And the name of the pupil has escaped me. I think they're obviously... It wasn't Adolf, I know that much. And it was the head teacher and the teacher of said class are on paid administrative leave.
So I don't understand what the problem is. Why the teacher and the head teacher have been suspended?
I'm guessing it's because of they've obviously arrived at school and it was a primary school, and they've had to. They've not. So obviously they've just left them in school. They've not said to them, "No, you can't come to school dressed like that. You need to go home." It was shared. The news, it came alight after someone had a parent of one of the other children's shared it on the Facebook, the photo of them, and obviously that and it got traction. And I think it's like the Jewish community have obviously then announced, which rightly so. And things like that, but apparently it's in Sheffield city centre, where a Gestapo officer outfit, which costs £35, is where they've got it from.
Okay, so it was in Sheffield, or in Yorkshire somewhere. Okay,
yeah.
And the final one, then the Amazon, they've had to recall loads of Halloween masks that depict COVID. What describe what the mask looks like?
Yeah, it's basically it's a virus, so it's circular in shape, and then it comes off, and it's got like the
little ball, the little
like arm sort of thing coming off. It's basically, it's got, I would describe it as a Joker-esque. So it's a head, so it covers your whole head, and it's got a Joker-esque sort of smile and then big eyes and stuff.
And why are they having to be recalled?
Purely because it's distasteful, and I think people have said that it will it's not obviously going to do well in the current climate, that people aren't going to take the virus seriously. I think that's purely what it is, without going into too much detail or giving away too much.
I've got to say, Billy, this has been the hardest one yet because you sound so unconvincing with all of them. Usually, I thought when you were going through the head teacher got suspended because of the Adolf Hitler thing, I thought, oh, that must be false. But then you've been the same with the Amazon one. I thought, oh, well, this one must be false as well then. But they can't both be false. One of them has to be false because that's the game. So, I don't think I've got any other questions. You haven't provided with me any names today other than Donald Trump, which is very unfortunate. So I'm just going to have to put my neck on the line and stick with my guts that the head teacher and the being suspended because of the Adolf Hitler child. That's my guess.
Well, Tom, you were probably right on your sort of process of me being really confident with one and not the other two, because I've made up one, and the one that I've made up is the one that I'm most confident with, was Donald Trump, because I was like, right, I'm gonna have to frantically write something now about Halloween. So yeah, Trump isn't gonna do isn't going to turn. Well, I don't know. It could turn out to be true. It could, going off our track record, it could be true that he does don a mask and turns up to these rallies wearing them. The strangest things have happened. But yeah, it's the head teacher was suspended. The pupil was doing Nazi salutes in the face of a few minority children who attend the school as well.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so I didn't. This is where I was like, I'm gonna hold back. I honestly can't. I think the name of the pupil obviously hasn't been shared for that.
Yeah, I imagine if they're primary school, that's why they've hidden the name.
Yeah, and things like that. So yeah, and
so
then
the Amazon recalling masks as well. I don't understand that, because surely you know what you're buying when you go and buy it. You wouldn't be offended.
Yeah, so
when you buy it.
I think no, they've put it up. If you let me share my screen, Tom, I can show you the masks.
Oh, yes, hang on. If you're watching on YouTube, you can now see what we're doing. If you're listening in the car or crying in a corner, you won't be able to see what Billy's about to show us. But here we go. Billy's going to show us. Oh my gosh. Okay.
So these are said masks. So they I think I can look into it. We were talking, I've only looked these up an hour before us coming on air. The internet at home has gone down, so I haven't. Normally I read through the stories and have a rough idea and have notes and stuff, but I've literally just found these and gone, right, I need to think of a story now to make up as well. So I could obviously, I don't think it says, it's just that a parenting group have criticised the manufacturers of the costumes. These masks show a terrible lapse of judgment by manufacturers and sellers, and hopefully they will remove from the site quickly. I don't know whether there's been a petition or anything to remove them, but it says they've just been removed. And as you saw, it was the Independent. So both of these stories were from viable. Whereas I'd originally found that story on, I think, the Lad Bible, for example. And I was like, right, well, this isn't it. But I think the Independent, because there was another story, Tom. I don't know if you wanted to say anything else before.
No, go on, you crack on.
Well, that got some traction on Twitter, and I'm surprised we haven't spoken about it already. But Woolworths, set to relaunch.
I've got it on my list of talking points.
Yeah. So I was like, this is gonna be great. We're gonna be able to talk about this. It's gonna be, and I was like, this is gonna be fake news, and it has come out today that it is.
Yeah. It's
a hoax. I think it was with a company that owns the rights to the Woolworths brand. They've come out and said no, they haven't. It's not the Twitter account that was created for UK Woolworths isn't associated to them, and then subsequently, and I think it's a group of teenagers have come out and said, yeah, it was us. We did it, and we didn't realise it was going to get as big as it was. But yeah, it's quite sad. I think it's quite sad, but it was quite strange. I thought in the current climate that we're in, for a store, any sort of like major store such as Woolworths or any other major brands, to announce that they're coming back, where it's more and more online shopping. I was like, this can't be true. There's no way this is true.
But I saw a picture, and I did tweet, and I saw that you liked the tweet. I can't remember what night it was, Monday night maybe. And saying, can you imagine trying to explain to like young children what Woolworths was? And somebody replied saying it's like Wilkinson's but better, but it's not like Wilkinson's, because Wilkinson's is like home stuff, isn't it? You get like saucepans and whatever.
It's basically, I would describe it like Argos, but you can see all the stuff. Yeah. And the pick and mix, which is now now appears everywhere. It was originally in Woolworths. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. You know that. Well, maybe not originally, but that was, if you wanted a pick and mix, that's where you went. You went to Woolworths, and it was a huge it was a whole aisle basically of sweets, which you could go and you know, fill up this tub, and it cost you like 50 quid.
I used to go. I would describe it as a shop where you could go on Christmas Eve and buy all of your presents for every member of your family. From your gran to your little baby brother, you could get everything that you possibly need.
Yeah, it was a dad's dream, I think would be the definition, or a man's. Because I was speaking to someone about this the other day, people. I don't know whether you have, Tom. I doubt it, knowing you quite well. People have started Christmas shopping already. Oh no! And I'm like, what's going on? Until December the 1st, that's when I'll start thinking, and then it'll probably be the week before Christmas where I go, right, I need to start getting some stuff. But yeah, it always baffles me. I can understand. Okay, you know, we obviously both of us have got friends who've got children and things like that, and them I can understand. You want to try and make sure that you get, you know, presents for them and things like that early, and you've got to try and hide them and things like that. Obviously, Santa does need help. For those younger listeners, he obviously does need help from your parents. But it's a case of it's quite difficult. It is difficult to try and sort it out. But now we're in October. We haven't even got through Halloween yet, or bonfire night. I know they're not probably going to happen, and people are thinking, right, we need something to cheer us up. But hold off. Be patient. You've got Trump dressing up in a fancy dress outfit coming up.
I know.
Over the weekend. that should tie you over.
As you've just mentioned Trump, let's just pause on that for a second. So next Tuesday, we may or may not know who is the next president of the United States. What is your gut telling you at the moment?
I think it's a lot. It's obviously the last election. We were in a problem. It is the world. It was in a similar situation where Hillary Clinton was miles ahead, not as far ahead, I think, as Biden currently is in the polls and stuff. So, and as we've seen from the polls in Britain and stuff, you know, they're not always a true representation of how people vote. I think the main difference that I've been hearing from people in America, from my American friends, is Biden isn't as a controversial candidate as Hillary. He's an okay candidate, where you get what you see. Whereas I think Trump has been trying to dig up dirt, and whereas he was successful with Hillary, I think he is struggling a bit more to do that. But that being said, I don't think you can rule him off to pull something miraculous out of the bag after what he did, after what happened last time. It will be a shame from a comedic point of view. I don't know whether I put it in our uni group chats, but I found yesterday a video of Trump and Boris Johnson being superimposed onto the Grease cast.
I did see that. I think I saw it myself on YouTube. But yeah, I did.
Yeah, I saw that the other day, and I thought we're going to miss out on all of this sort of stuff. You know, obviously we'll be stuck with Boris for a bit longer.
Well, who knows?
Who knows? But I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. How about you, Tom? What do you think? Are you going?
Well, so I've been following the election very closely for the last couple of months, really, and watching a lot of their interviews and the drama that's been going on between the two of them and the debates. And there's a video that I saw yesterday from Talk Radio, and it was an American election expert or an American politics expert, and he said that yes, Biden is leading, because people are ringing up houses and saying, who would you vote for? And they're saying Biden. And they're ringing up everybody and they're all saying Biden. But then they ask, the next question is, who do you think your neighbour would vote for? And they all say Trump. So if everybody's neighbour is voting for Trump, then that sort of means everybody's very shyly supporting Trump, which I think is probably what happened last time, is that he didn't have this outward, people weren't outwardly saying that they were Trump supporters. It's quite a shameful thing to admit to at the minute because of some of his views. But so I do think there is a chance that Trump could win. I think, though, it is unlikely. I think Biden should win, although he's such a terrible candidate. If they had anybody with any sort of charisma or youth or anything,
I think that's what they've done. I think that's why the Democrats have gone down that route. Is because he's a safe. He's not this. He's the complete opposite of Trump, if you will. Whereas Hillary was trying to go toe to toe for him, in terms of she was quite a outspoken woman and things like that. Whereas, like I said to you before, I said I wouldn't be surprised if Biden gets elected in and then he steps down after a year or two, and then there's someone else steps up for him instead. But I don't know.
82. He'd be 82 in 4 years' time.
Yeah. Well, Trump's obviously been staying quite a lot. I think they're only a year apart in age or something like that. And he's saying, he needs a Zimmer frame and things like that, which is quite funny to watch, where you've got these two blokes who are, on similar news, again, more fake news from President Trump related to him. Did you see about Melania?
Oh, the fake Melania?
Yeah.
I did see, somebody said it must have been fake because she was smiling.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's quite. You have to feel sorry for the one because she does get a lot of abuse thrown at her, and it might purely be similar to Simon Cowell and other celebrities who just can't smile because of the
all the Botox
that they've had. But again, I've got another story, Tom, which I was going to try and turn into a fake news story. But I think you'd have got this one straight away, where the CIA has posted on the CIA has posted a Spot the Difference inspired by Halloween on their Twitter, and I was going to try and turn it into are they trying to advertise a job by getting people to solve this Spot the Difference, because that is literally what all the comments are on Twitter. If I solve this, do I get a job? Which was quite funny. But yeah.
The one last news story that I wanted to talk about was something that I think we mentioned when we first came back after our little break from doing podcasts, and it's about Marcus Rashford. I don't know whether we publicly said it or certainly said it privately about him. Obviously, will be the sports personality of the year.
Oh yeah.
He hasn't even been shortlisted. Now I can understand why, because what he's done is not. It's not related to sport in any way. Sports personality of the year is for people who have achieved huge sporting success within the year. So unless they're going to create some other award, I know there is an award for something like that. That Doddy Weir, the Scottish rugby player, won last year. The one who's got motor neuron disease, he won it for all his charity work. So it could be that Rashford wins that, but he's not going to win sports personality of the year, is he?
I was going to say, I just had a quick look whilst we were speaking. They haven't released the shortlist yet, so he could still be shortlisted. So you're wrong there, Tom, on that. I've just looked at the odds.
I saw it on Twitter yesterday. I thought they'd released it by now.
No,
somebody arguing about it.
Yeah, I've just looked at the odds for, obviously, without the shortlist being released. Lewis Hamilton is the favourite at the minute. Going off his sporting achievements, obviously, because he's just overtaken Schumacher for the amount of races won, and then Rashford's next, and then Tyson Fury is in third, and Ronnie O'Sullivan is in fourth.
So is Rashford on that list at all?
Yeah, Rashford's second. He's 5 to 4. Sorry. So he is on, but these are the odds. These aren't. This isn't a short list. On a similar note, Tom, do you want to guess who is 100 to 1?
Frank Lampard.
No, he's your friend, Tom.
My friend?
Yeah, you always talk about him every time.
Ben Stokes.
Yeah, he is 100.
He's on the list.
1.
He hasn't done anything this year. Really.
Yeah, well, he's on the. There you are, Tom. Put a tenner on there. Not that we condone gambling, but 100 to 1, Tom.
I might be on there as well for winning 3 games in a row for Cosley.
I'll just have a look. I'll just scroll down. Yeah, there you are. 5,000 to 1, Tom. You are. So
same odds as Leicester.
There you are. So you can put that on. No, there's obviously Gareth Bale's on there for 1,000 to 1.
Was he?
Yeah, there's quite a few. But yeah, it's there were obviously we were speaking about Joe Wicks as well. That's what he's done. But we were saying about him potentially winning something on the night. Maybe not sports personality, but getting some recognition. But this was back.
He's been given an MBE. What more does he want?
That's what I mean. But I'm talking about back when we probably started talking about Rashford winning. But I think that within the same conversation, he was another name that we had mentioned about winning some sort of accolade. And as you have rightly said, he has won an MBE. But so's Rashford, hasn't he? I think Rashford's won an MBE as well.
Yes.
So, and obviously he scored a hat-trick last night, so all the United fans are saying that he should be made a doctor now. Dr. Rashford. I'm serious. That's what it was all over Twitter last night, because he came on as a substitute and scored a hat-trick in 16 minutes. He's obviously God's gift. He's Pele reincarnated or whatever. But yeah, I'm surprised, Tom, we haven't spoken about sport until the very end of the podcast.
I know. Well, I've changed the bio or the little synopsis for our podcast now, because it said something like covering all things sports every week. And then I was looking back through our podcast back catalogue, and apart from really the first couple of episodes, we go quite off track quite quickly. From episode 10 or 11, we did the Star Wars episode 9 review.
Yeah.
And from then it was film reviews, our university days, and then lockdown happened. So it was, But since we've come back as a new, more organised outfit with features and now jingles as well.
Yeah, that might turn them off, actually, Tom. that might turn them off now we've got the jingles.
Well, you never know.
What was I going to say, Tom? I've got some news in relation to my podcast.
Mm-hmm.
So I finished, obviously, I think last week. I think we forgot to mention, didn't we? Because you touched upon your podcast changing its name and things like that. Mine's season 1 finished a couple of weeks ago. So if you want to go and listen to that, it's called A Backpacker's Guide to Travel before Tom calls it something else.
And gets him in trouble.
Yeah. And, I've had 150 listens over the 6 episodes, Tom.
Oh, wow. That's good.
Which, I'm quite pleased with. But obviously still number 1 with 41 out of the 150.
As many as 41
is my co-host Tom Roust. But they are, it's picking up steam. You were miles ahead, but my cousin, she's episode 6. Adam, who's episode 2, he's had 30. But my cousin, who's had obviously been her episodes of the last episode, she's already on 30. She's going to obviously fight you, Tom, for the most played episode. Wow. But yeah, see, I put out that if people want to come on for season 2, I know you're currently, are you just finished season 2 of your...
Well, it was very short. There's only 3 episodes in it. This morning I've sent 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 emails out to people from 9 different clubs asking if they wanted to come on. Because I don't know about doing in blocks of series like you have now and just trying to find the time and when they're ready, just putting them up. Whereas I think before I tried to get like a block of them.
Yeah.
But what I found is, like, when I listened back to the 3 that I recorded back in August, they were all quite, because I was hoping to do 6, I only ended up doing 3. They were all really relevant at the time, because I'd asked this Cardiff fan about missing out in the playoffs, a Fulham fan about going up in the playoffs and how they was looking forward to the season starting. The season's 6 games in now as that episode came out, so it was a little bit out of date really. But so I'm hoping that some of these will get back to me.
Yeah,
and I'll have something to do it. So yeah, go and check out Billy's podcast, and as well, share this podcast. By which we mean just tell somebody else about this podcast, so that we can try and spread the news And yeah, well, 200 odd people listened to the episode last week, Billy, because I put like I told you, I put the title on YouTube as "Wolves will win the Premier League." It was actually called. It was actually called "Is that £10,000 in your trousers, or are you pleased to see me?" Which probably wouldn't have got so many views. But I don't know what to call this episode. Jingle all the way, something maybe.
I'll think dress.
Yeah, I'll think of something. But yeah, this is the only way that we're going to share. The only way that we're going to grow as a podcast is if people to share them. So if you are listening now, still at the end, then surely, for goodness sake, you must enjoy it. Why would you put yourself through 55 minutes to an hour's worth of this if you don't enjoy it? So yeah, tell somebody, and hopefully they'll enjoy it too. Billy seems to have frozen. Maybe his internet is gone, but I'll end the podcast there, and we'll see you all again for episode number 50 next week. Bye-bye.